So shall we start the class? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think we solved one question started ahead on NWCR method. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think we'll solve question number 2 and then I'll take up an unbalanced problem today. And once we are done with the NWCR method, then we should move on to least cost method, which is the second method. Okay. So we'll do that way. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we'll start with the second question today. Once we are done with the introduced here method, so we'll proceed with the second. I hope you all remember the first method we solved on Saturday, which is about northwest corner rule method. So this is one of the primary methods used to calculate the initial basic feasible solution. So I'll just take one more question so that in case if you have any doubts, I think with this question you should be able to deal with that, and then we'll take up the unbalanced problems. Okay. So let me take the question number 2, which is example 8.2, the one which I've shared the other day, the same example I'm taking. So example 8.2 goes like this. So O1, O2, O3 are the three origins. D1, D2, D3 and D4 are the four destinations. The origin D1 values are 6, 8 and 4. D2 value is 4, 9, 3. This is 1, 2, 6 and this is 5, 7, 2. They're given the supply values as 14, 16 and 5. And the demand values are given as 6, 10, 15 and 4. So this is the question. Okay. So can one of you please tell me, before we start solving the transportation problem, what is the first thing to be checked?
Whether it is balanced or unbalanced, sir.
Very good. So the first important condition to be verified here is, before we start allocations, we are supposed to verify whether it is a balanced transportation problem or not. So the balancing or unbalanced conditions are checked by simple principle, by finding the total of demand and finding the total of supply. If both demand and supply totals are equal, then we call it as a balanced problem. If it is not equal, then we call it as unbalanced problem. So far, we have only understood how to solve with the balanced problem. So once we are comfortable with balanced problem, then we shall proceed with the unbalanced problem. Now, as far as this question is concerned, so can you please tell me whether it is a balanced problem or unbalanced problem?
It's a balanced
It's a balanced problem because you can see that the total supply is 35 and the total demand also comes to 30. So, moment you have realized that the given question is a balanced transportation problem, I am supposed to denote it by a mathematical notation like this. Summation AI is equals to summation Bj. Therefore, there exists an initial basic feasible solution. This statement has to be clearly written before we start with the allocation. Please don't forget this. Always you are supposed to verify whether it is balanced or not, and that is represented mathematically using a notation. Summation AI is equal to summation Bj, and there exists an initial basic feasible solution. So now it is very clear the problem is balanced. Yesterday I think I told you, once the problem is balanced, then we are supposed to enter this value in a particular template. We usually call it a northwest corner rule template, which is called a lattice graph. Let me quickly write it down. Totally we have O1, O2, O3, 3 rows and demand value. Then we have the first column D1, then second column D2, the third column is called as D3, and the fourth column is called as D4. And then we have supply. So this is the first column, first row, second row, third row, and the demand. Okay. So these individual compartments are called as cells. Now, whatever values we have, this is called unit transportation cost, leaving the demand and supply. These unit transportation cost values have to be substituted in the table in the lattice squares. I hope you all remember that position. So the first value is 6, and then we have 4, and this is 1, and this is 5. Here it is 8, 9, 2, 7, and then it is 4, then it is 3, 6, and 2. And the demand values are 6, 10, 15, and 4. I hope you remember the lattice square values to be written only for the unit transportation cost, where the demand and supply can be written without lattice square. So please don't get confused with that. The supply values are 14, 16, and 5. Now the template or the proforma is ready. Now we'll start with the allocations. So can you please tell me to which element the allocation shall be started? How do we start allocation in northwest corner method? Hello? Can anybody please tell me from where the allocation shall be started in this method?
Left box.
Northwest.
Yeah, we should always start from the element which is located at the northwest corner rule. What is the northwest corner element, sir? The element which is situated on the left top portion, that is called as northwest element. So here in this particular problem, the northwest element happens to be 6. So from this cell, the allocation should be started. Now how do you do the allocation? Compare the corresponding supply and the corresponding demand. After comparing the demand and supply, you are supposed to identify the smallest value amongst both. Out of 6 and 14, the smallest value is 6. So whichever is smaller value, that has to be allocated. So for the element 6, the allocation also becomes 6. So once the allocation is done, then I am supposed to subtract this allocation from both supply as well as demand. So from 6, if the entire 6 is allocated, this becomes 0. And similarly, even in supply also this value has to be subtracted. So what is 14 minus 6? So 14 minus 6 becomes 8. Now I have successfully completed one allocation. After completing the first allocation, what is the next step to be done? Can anybody please tell me? After doing the allocation, what is the next step to be done?
We should cancel the row or column which has got 0.
Very good. So you are supposed to eliminate a row or column which has become 0, which very clearly indicates that that particular row or column has absolutely nothing more to actually be allocated. So as far as the first step is concerned, you can see that the first column D1 has become 0, which I mean to say that the D1 is further expelled from the allocation. So after every allocation, you can see that either a row or a column or both row and column might be reduced or maybe eliminated. Now after this step, you can see that now the matrix is reduced, it is shrinked. You can see the number of rows and columns have become reduced. Now the same step continues. From the reduced matrix, again identify the northwest element. Now can you please tell me which is the northwest element now in the reduced matrix?
4.
Sorry? 4, very good. So 4 is the northwest element in the reduced matrix. Same procedure. Compare the supply and compare the demand and identify the lowest value. So 8 and 10 is the value. Obviously 8 is the lowest value. So if I am allocating 8, so this becomes 2 and this becomes 0. Since the first row O1 has become 0, I am supposed to eliminate O1. O1 is exhausted. Again, you could see the matrix is reduced now. Now, can you please tell me which is the northwest element now in the reduced matrix?
9.
Very good. So 9 is the element. Again, compare the corresponding supply and demand. 16 and 2 is there. Obviously, 2 is the lowest value. So if I'm taking 2 here, so this becomes 0 and this becomes 3. Since the D2 has become 0, I'm supposed to strike it. Again, now the matrix is reduced further. Can you please tell me which is the reduced, northwest element now after the reduced matrix?
2.
Yeah, 2 is the value. Fine. So again, compare the corresponding supply and demand. 15 and 14 is there. So obviously the lowest value is 15. So this becomes 0 and this becomes 1. Since this is 0, the O2 is gone. Now finally we are left with only 2 elements. Now in this 2 element, which is the northwest element now?
6.
6 is a northwest element, very good. So 5 and 1 is there. So I can assign 1. So if I'm assigning 1 here, this becomes 0 and this becomes 4. Since this is 0, even D3 is gone. I think if you remember last class, I made it very clear to you. If at all your allocations is correct, then whatever last value is left, the demand and supply will exactly match. I can see that the only element left in the entire table is 2. You can see the corresponding supply as well as corresponding demand is same, which will finally clear that the entire demand and supply should become 0. So since this is the only element left out, corresponding demand and supply values are same, the entire 4 can be given here. So if I'm giving the whole 4, this also becomes 0 and this also becomes 0. Now I can complete the process. So what is exactly the northwest corner will say? You should continue the allocation till all the demand and supply becomes 0. Now you can see that in this problem, the entire demand as well as supply becomes 0, indicating that the process is completed. Okay, is it clear to everyone now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what is the next step to be done after the allocations? What next?
To calculate IBFS, sir.
Yeah, you are supposed to calculate the total cost of transportation or initial basic feasibility solution. I'm supposed to find IBFS. How do you determine the IBFS value? You are supposed to identify how many cells in this problem has allocations. First, let me just count how many allocations we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Totally 6 allocations are there. Now, whenever you are calculating the initial basic feasible solutions, you are supposed to multiply the allocated value into unit transportation cost. So totally all the 6 cells to be considered, and in each cells multiply the unit transportation cost by allocated value and add them. And the total is called the initial basic feasible solution. So let's quickly do it now. So 6 into 6 becomes 36 plus 8 into 4
32.
32 plus 2 into 9 is 18 plus 14 into 2 is 28 plus 1 into 6 is 6 plus 4 into 2 is 8. Can you please add all the value and tell me how much?
128.
128.
128. Very good. So the final answer is rupees 128. Since we are calculating the cost here, always use the unit rupees so that it very clearly indicates that we have calculated the cost involved in the process. So in this particular problem, the initial basic feasible solution or the transportation cost is rupees 128. Okay. Now, can I assume that everybody is perfect with the first method, which is northwest corner rule method? Any doubts in this method?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, this is all the maximum complications could be there. The only way the question can be made complicated is by increasing the number of rows and columns. Beyond that, there is no other complexities can be involved here. A very simple and straight question. The next variety of the question within northwest corner rule method is unbalanced problem. I think the first and second question what we solved now, they were already balanced. So there was absolutely no modification required. Directly we could solve the problem. What if the demand and supply values are not equal? Then such cases are called as unbalanced problem. So anyway, this the question which I'm going to solve now, it is not there in the PDF file which I've shared. So I'll just take one question which is unbalanced problem and try to solve that so that you understand how an unbalanced problem can be converted to balanced. Okay. So shall we go ahead with the unbalanced problem now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's take with the unbalanced problem. I'll take the same question instead of taking one more because there is only one small difference that happens in the unbalanced problem. Okay. Let us take the same question. Now, if you look at this question clearly, it is very obvious that the total demand now is not equal to total supply. First, let us see what is the total of demand and what is the total of supply. If you take the total of demand, I think it is the same. So 25 plus 10, 35 is there. So the demand is 35. But when it comes to supply, 14 plus 16 is 30, 30 plus 1 is 31. The supply is 31. Obviously, 35 is not equal to 31. Therefore, the very first instance, you can come to conclusion that it is an unbalanced transportation problem. Okay, now whenever you come across a situation of unbalanced problem, how do we proceed? Let me make it one thing very clear to you. The only extra step that is involved in solving an unbalanced transportation problem is converting an unbalanced problem to balanced problem. The moment the question becomes a balanced problem, I'm doing here is making demand and supply equal. All other steps exactly remain same. There is absolutely no difference at all. Okay? Yeah. Now the point here is the demand is larger than supply here because demand is 35 and supply is 30. So it very clearly demonstrates that there is a deficit in supply and there is a surplus in demand. As per Northwest Corner Rule method or any method in transportation, please remember whether we are solving Northwest Corner Rule method, least cost method, or Ogle's approximation method, the way we convert unbalanced problem to balanced problem is same in all the three methods. Please remember this carefully, right? Only the allocations will vary. Allocations ಮಾಡೋದು different ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, but converting an unbalanced problem to balanced problem in all the three methods, this is the same procedure. Okay, we don't have any different procedure for other methods. The rule says whenever you are trying to balance total demand and supply, subtraction is not allowed. That means since supply is 31 and demand is 34, I cannot subtract -4 from here and make it equal. It is not allowed. I'm not supposed to subtract from the surplus value and make it equal. In any transportation problem, subtraction is not permitted. So the only possibility before me is I can balance the total demand and supply only by adding the deficit. Whatever shortage is there, that has to be added and it has to be balanced. Is it clear now? So now from this question, it is very clear that the shortage is in supply. Okay, the shortage is in supply. The next point here is you should identify how much is the shortage. Demand is 35, supply is 31. Therefore, the difference of these two is 4. Therefore, the shortage is 4. So, by adding 4 to supply, it can be made equal. You all agree with this step? Since the rule says only by addition the value has to be balanced, you can very clearly see that by adding 4 to supply, demand and supply can be made equal. Am I right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So 4 is something which has to be added to. Now, where do we add 4? I cannot simply add 4 randomly wherever I want. I cannot simply make this 1/5 and make it balanced. It's not permitted. So whenever you are adding an extra value or whenever you are adding that extra value to make it balanced, then I am supposed to introduce something called as dummy row or dummy column. What am I supposed to do? I am supposed to introduce a dummy row or a dummy column. By introducing this, the value has to be balanced. Now the question is, when are we supposed to introduce dummy row and when are we supposed to introduce dummy column? That's the next question. Please remember, whenever there is a shortage in row nalli idre, aga dummy row has to be introduced. Whenever the shortage is in column, then a dummy column has to be introduced. This point please remember. Whenever the shortage happens to be in row, then introduce the dummy row. Whenever the shortage happens to be in column, then I am supposed to introduce dummy column. Now in this question, where is the shortage now? Is the shortage is in row or in column?
Row, sir.
Row. Obviously, there is a shortage in row, which clearly means that I am supposed to introduce a new row called O4. I am supposed to introduce a new row called O4. This O4 is called as dummy row. But whenever I am introducing a dummy row, the unit transportation cost of that particular row shall be made 0. The hour is 0. All the dummy row or dummy column, the elements have to be taken as 0 because this is imaginary. It don't exist. Idu illa illi practical agilla. It is only to balance the problem. I am introducing it, and therefore the unit transportation cost should be taken as dummy values. So dummy values are that everything should be taken as 0. But here in supply, here I should take an extra value, the shortage value. since the shortage is 4, I'm supposed to write 4 here, but all the unit transportation cost of that particular row can be taken as 0. Now you can see that by introducing a dummy row called O4 and putting the value 4 in the supply, the demand and supply become. Now the question is altered. Now this is a new question. Now in the new question, you can see that there is an extra row called O4 is added, and by that the value becomes entirely different. Now this question is ready for solving. Now this problem can be solved exactly by the same method. Same northwest element, compare the supply and demand, whichever is minimum and okay, everything remains same. The only extra step I am doing is this, introducing the dummy row and finding what is the extra value, and by doing that, the problem becomes balanced. Has everybody understood this method now? Step everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me just take one more point now. What if there is a shortage in the column? Okay, let me just take that example. So, okay, I'll take the column. This, let me take it as 95. Okay, this I will make it 0. Okay, now can you please tell me what is the first thing to be done here? I should be seeing what is the total of demand and what is the total of supply. Can you please tell me what is the total of demand here? 25, 27, 33. So the demand becomes 33 and the supply becomes 35. So where is the shortage?
Demand, sir.
Obviously, the demand is a shortage. So the demand is shortage in the sense there is a shortage in columns. Okay, there is a shortage in column. And what is the shortage? How much is the shortage here?
2.
2 is the shortage. No. So by 2 is to be added to the demand so that it will be balanced. Now, how do I add this 2? What should I do now? Am I supposed to introduce a dummy row or dummy column?
Dummy columns.
Dummy column. So what is the number to be given to the dummy column?
D5.
So all the values of unit transportation cost shall be taken as 0, 0, and 0. But here in the demand value, whatever is the shortage, that has to be included. Now you can see that by introducing a dummy column called D5, the value 2 is added to it. Now the problem will become balanced. Okay, so as far as unbalanced problem is concerned, there are only 2 possibilities. Either the demand could be a shortage or there could be a shortage in supply. Either it can be shortage in row or there can be a shortage in column. Okay, so only by adding that extra value or the shortage value, it has to be balanced. Now, once the problem becomes balanced, then the same procedure, exactly the same procedure is applied to solve the problem. No, absolutely no other changes. This is the only extra step we are doing in unbalanced problem. Okay, so I hope now you have understood how to convert unbalanced to balanced now, everybody. Please reply. Have you all understood how to convert unbalanced
Yes,
to
sir.
balanced?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I presume that the first method, northwest corner rule method, everybody is perfect now. Both variations,
Yes, sir.
balanced problem, unbalanced problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you're perfect with this, very good to know. So we'll complete the first method as now. Now we shall move on to the second method, which is called as least cost method or matrix minima method. That is the next method, method number 2. Okay, so I'll be posting some questions after the class today, around 3 questions in both NWCR and LCM method. I want everyone to please solve those problems, and then you can upload in the quick learn maybe at the later week or end of the week. Okay, so I'll be asking some questions so that once you practice the similar type of questions, you'll be confident. Okay, so now we'll move on to the second method, which is called as least cost. So least cost method, it is popularly known as LCM. Okay, least cost method is also same as matrix minima method. Few examiners use an interchangeable or a synonym to least cost method, which is called as matrix minima method. So please remember, matrix minima method or least cost method is one in this. Okay. So I shall take up the question number 8.3. If you look at the PDF document which I shared the other day, example 8.3 is a problem which is used to solve for least cost method or matrix minima method. Okay, I'll take up that question. So the question goes like this: O1, O2, O3, D1, D2, D3, and D4. The values are 1, 4, 0, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, and D4 is 4, 0, 1. And then the demand values are given as 4, 6, 8, 6, and the supply values are 6, 8, 10. The question looks exactly similar to Northwest Corner Rule method. As far as the pattern is concerned, absolutely no change. The only way that changes in this method is the way we allocate the values are different. Otherwise, the whole way of looking at the question is entirely same. Now let's start with the second method, which is called as least cost. As I already said, whenever the question is about calculating the initial basic feasible solution or the transportation cost in transportation problem, the first thing or the first prerequisite remains same for all the three methods. So what is the first thing to be verified before we start solving the problem?
Balance or unbalanced.
Very good. First, you are supposed to verify whether the given transportation problem is balanced or unbalanced. Even in method number 2, this condition has to be verified. And even in second method also, suppose if it is not balanced or if it is unbalanced, same way what we did in Northwest Corner Rule method, the same way the balancing has to be done. So as far as converting unbalanced to balanced, in all the three methods, the same procedure is used. There is no difference in that. But the way we do the allocations is different in different methods. Okay, is that clear now? Okay. So first thing is, I'm supposed to verify whether it is balanced or not. Can anybody please tell me what is the total of supply? How much we total?
24, sir.
Good. And what is the total demand?
24, sir.
24. So how do we write the mathematical notation now? Sigma A is equals to sigma Bj. There exists an initial basic feasible solution. This step everyone should write without fail. You are declaring that the problem is fit for solving. The problem is actually satisfied the minimum requirement. So the minimum requirement in any transportation problem is it has to be a balanced problem. This condition is big. So once you've written this, same procedure in second method also, I am supposed to rewrite the entire value in the standard format. So what is the standard format here? Same thing. I'm supposed to write the value in matrix price. This is O1, O2, and O3. This is D1, D2, D3, and D4. Right? The procedure is exactly same. The way we wrote the table in the first method, even in second method also, the same procedure is used. Absolutely no changes here. Okay. So let's write the values quickly. So the matrix was 1, and this is 4, and this is 0. This is 2, and this is 3, and this is 2. And third is 3, and 2, and 2. And D4 value is 4, 0, and this is 1. So the demand values, as this we are supposed to write without lattice stress. This becomes 4, and this is 6, this is 8, and this is 6. And the supply values are 6, 8, and 10. Now the question is ready. We can start with the allocation. Please, everyone, listen to me very carefully. In Northwest Corner Rule method, the allocation was started from a simple rule called identify the northwest element and start the allocation. Correct? You all agree with that? Okay. Similarly,
Yes.
when it comes to least cost method, we have a different approach. Now, what is the approach in least cost method? A very simple approach. The method says always start your allocation from that value which is lowest in the entire table. I am repeating it again. Always identify or start your allocation from that particular value which is the lowest value in the entire table. Now, can you please tell me in the entire table? When I am saying entire table, please remember demand and supply value should not be considered. I should only consider the main problem, that is unit transportation cost value. Demand and supply are not considered here. That is only considered for allocations. Okay. So now can you please tell me, in this entire matrix, which is the lowest value?
0, sir.
Very good. So 0 is the lowest value. Now you have a small question to be asked before we proceed further. See, there are certain cases where the lowest value can be a repeated value. Okay. It is not necessary that the lowest value is unique. Here in this question, it is very clear that the lowest value is 0, but 0 is repeated twice. Am I right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
can see that there are two zeros present in the problem. 0 in this particular value and 0 in this cell as well. Now there is a problem. Whenever the lowest value happens to be a repetition or a type, which value has to be considered? Should I consider the O3 value or should I consider the D4 value? Now there is a fix. Now the rule says, whenever the lowest value happens to be a type or whenever there is a repetition, then you can select any of these values randomly. Either I can take O3 or I can take D4. Is up to you. And therefore, the most important outcome of least cost method is the least cost method will not have a common answer to everybody. If I am solving this problem considering O3, I might get a different answer. Maybe if Rajat starts solving the problem by taking D4 value, that is 0, that's 0, he would get a different answer. So therefore, in least cost method, you are not expected to have the uniform answer whenever the values are repeated. Values repeat that's a different story. If the values are repeated, then you are bound to get different answers. So please don't be under the impression that in case if your friend has got a different answer, it is correct or it is wrong. No, it's nothing like that. It purely depends on which value you have considered for allocation. If you value consider on that basis, your answers also will vary. Am I made it very clear to all of you now, this particular procedure?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please remember this clearly. Whenever the lowest value happens to be a tie or repetition, then you can select any value randomly. Okay. Yeah. Now for the purpose of uniformity, let me take this as the lowest value. You can take this also, absolutely nothing wrong. For sake of uniformity, let me take this value. If I'm taking this value as my first allocation, same procedure. Compare the corresponding supply and compare the corresponding demand. Compare the value, whichever is the lowest value, that much has to be allocated. The way we do the allocation is again same here, absolutely no different. Only the selection of element for allocation is different. That is the only difference. Please remember, the element which you are selecting for allocation changes, but the way we do the allocation is exactly the same. So out of 4 and 10, obviously the 4 is the lowest value. So if I'm assigning or allocating 4, this becomes 0 and this becomes 6. Again the same procedure. Any demand or supply or any row or column which becomes 0, it has to be removed from the allocations. Okay. So therefore, since the value of D1 happens to be 0, I'm supposed to straight it off. Okay. Now you can see that the matrix is reduced. Matrix reduced. Now can you please tell me from the reduced matrix, which is the lowest value? Same procedure. Prati reduce I am supposed to allocate only for the lowest value. From the reduced matrix now, can anybody please tell me which is the lowest value now?
0, sir.
0.
Yeah, obviously from the reduced matrix, the lowest element is 0. So 0 is the lowest element. Suppose again if there are any repeated value, then you can select anyone random. Absolutely no problem. Okay. So 0 is the lowest value. Compare the supply and demand. 8 and 6 is there, therefore I can give 6. So if I'm giving 6 here, this becomes 0 and this becomes 2. Since this is 0, the value D4 is expanded. Okay. Now the matrix is further reduced. Can you please tell me in the reduced matrix which is the lowest value? Hello? You can see that the lowest value is 2.
1, sir.
2, sir.
Okay. Sorry?
2, sir.
1, sir.
2.
But the point here is there are totally 4 2s. 2 is on D2, it is in D3. Again, the last row, everywhere 2 is there. Okay. So what am I supposed to do now? out of these 4 2s, I can select any 2 randomly. Actually, final answer is very because it depends on which particular value selected for allocation. So, if 4 different people take 4 different 2s and do the allocation, obviously the final answer will definitely vary. That's why the disclaimer in this question is we are not bound to get the same solution. The solution entirely depends on the element which you have considered for allocations. Common answers expect. We don't expect common answers here because it entirely depends on allocated value. Okay. Since there are totally 4 2s, I can select anyone randomly. Let me take this e to the 1 there. 6 and 6 is there. So the entire 6 I can give here. I can do 0 there. I can do 0. So both O3 also becomes 0 and B2 also becomes 0. If both become 0, what am I supposed to do? Hello?
Cancel both, sir. Row and column.
Both. O3 also has to be cancelled as well as D2 also has to be cancelled. Okay, whenever both demand and supply both become 0, both has to be cancelled. So O3 also gets cancelled here as well as D2 also gets cancelled. Now how many elements are left with me? Only the last 2 elements are left with 3 and 2. So which is the lowest value now?
2.
2 is the lowest value, very good. So 2 is the lowest value. So 2 and 8 is there. If you compare the corresponding supply is 2, corresponding demand is 8. So I can assign 2 here. So from assigning 2 here, so this becomes 0 and this becomes 6. Since this O2 becomes 0, I am supposed to remove O2 as well. Now the last value left in this entire problem is 3. Even in this method also, if your allocations are correct, whatever last value is left, the demand and supply will exactly match. Very different parada. You can see that for this particular value, the supply is 6 and the demand is also 6, which means the values are exactly matching. So I can give entire 6 here. This also becomes 0 and this also becomes 0. So even in least cost method, the problem has to be continued till all the demand and supply become 0. The moment all the demand and supply becomes 0, the question is completed. Okay, is everybody clear with this method now? Do you all understand how did I solve this problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As usual, the last step in this question is what? I am supposed to calculate IBFS, initial basic feasible solution. Same procedure. See how many allocations are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 allocations are there. And how do we find the cost here? Multiply the unit transportation cost into allocations and add it in. Okay. So please tell me now 6 into 3, 18 plus 2 into 2, 4 plus 6 into 0 is 0 plus 4 into 0 is 0 plus 6 into 2 is 9. I will take all the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you please add and tell me how much we get?
34.
34, right?
Yes, sir.
18, 22, 34. So 34 rupees happens to be your initial basic feasible solution. Simple. So this is a question which you can expect in the exam for 5 marks. I think one of the simplest possible question in the entire OR. I'm sure in case if you definitely will come across this question in the exam, you should not miss the opportunity to solve such problems. Because with maximum 2 or 3 minutes, I think you can solve the problem. And this is a simple arithmetic, no rocket science, no formula, nothing. If you just remember the procedure, I think you can usually bank 5 marks. Is that clear, everyone? Everybody is clear with this problem now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me just tell you one more implication here. Even in least cost method, you might come across a question which is unbalanced problem. Suppose if it is unbalanced problem, how do we solve? Okay, this question I'll just take it so that you can understand this. Okay, let me take this same question. Okay, this I will write it as 5, 5, 10. Okay, this is how it is given to you. As usual, I'm supposed to find the total demand and supply. The total demand comes to 10, 18, 24, whereas supply comes to 20. So supply 20 here, demand 24 here. So where is the shortage now? Where is the shortage? Supply is the shortage. So what am I supposed to do now? I am supposed to introduce a dummy row called O4 by balancing it. Am I right? Am I supposed to introduce dummy row now? So what is the dummy row? dummy row is O4, 0, 0, 0, and 0, and the shortage is 4. Now it becomes balanced. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನ್ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸರ್ once you convert an unbalanced problem to balanced problem in least cost method, ಈಗ dummy values 4 ಇದೆ, 0, 0, 0, 0 ಅಂತ 4 zeros ಇದೆ. Should we consider this 4 zeros also for allocation, or should we leave it? This is a common doubt most of the people have. Please remember, the moment this problem is increased by an additional row called O4, all these 4 zeros are very much part of the question, and therefore they have to be considered while selecting the lowest value. These zeros manu ignore madangilla. Please remember, this all 4 zeros which are included in the fourth row O4 is a very much part of the main question. Adu dummy anta navu adannu ignore madakagalla. Now if you just take this problem, tagondre totally now 6 zeros are there in the problem. Munche 2 zero ide, and this 4 dummy values become 6 zero. Out of these 6 zeros, any zero can be taken for allocation. Am I making it clear to you now? Just because we have included a dummy row or column, it does not mean that those values should be explored or should be removed from allocation. No, it's not like that. They have to become a part of your question. Even that zero shall be considered when it comes to allocations. Is it clear to everyone now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that clear now? So please don't be under the impression that the dummy will not be considered for solving. It is the part of problem and it has to be considered. So obviously the next possibility in this particular question is, if at all there is a shortage in demand, then what am I supposed to do? If there is a shortage in demand, what am I supposed to do?
Dummy column.
Dummy column, sir.
D5 has to be introduced. Of course, all the dummy column, the value shall be 0, and same procedure. So even in least cost method, the moment you come across a question of unbalanced problem, you are supposed to introduce a dummy row or dummy column, balance it, and once the problem is balanced, then the way we solve the problem is entirely same. There is absolutely no difference. Okay, the only extra step is including a dummy row or dummy column. Once it is successfully done, then we can go ahead and solve the problem. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
sir.
can I presume that now you are perfectly okay with the least cost method? Everybody has understood least cost method clearly?
Yes, sir.
Sir, hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, we allocate dummy columns or row, no, sir. That should
Yeah.
be allocated last but one row or column, sir, or any where.
No. It should always be placed at the end. So, for example, if the D4 is there, then the dummy column should be D5 only. I cannot keep in the first value.
Okay, sir.
Okay, if it is dummy row, then always it should be the last row. Always the dummy should be placed in the last position. It cannot be placed in the center or middle or something like that. It has to be always kept at the last.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Akshata, you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay, I mean, I saw you raise the hand. Let's make this last. Okay, so is it clear, everyone? Everybody is perfect with the first and second method now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in that case, I think I'll just float some questions to you after this class. Maybe around 3 questions in both least cost method as well as LCM method. I want everyone to please solve this problem and just keep it with you. Maybe once we do the remaining methods, maybe by Saturday or Sunday, you can just upload all the assignments of this chapter together. Okay, that would be easier. And I want everyone to please solve the problem today itself. I think maximum from 15-20 minutes if you spend on it, you can solve these questions. Very simple questions, not difficult at all. So please do it today itself. Maybe I have one more class for section C now. Once I finish the class, I will send the questions in WhatsApp. Okay? Is it clear, everyone?
Sir, the
Okay,
fourth
sir.
problem of buffer stock.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, sorry, actually completely forgot. Anyway, I'll just I'll look into it. I'm not carrying the document with me. I'll just maybe message you in that WhatsApp group. I'll just see the question and message about it. Okay. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Or otherwise, maybe
Okay, sir.
tomorrow morning before I start with the class, I'll just clarify that and I'll start. I completely forgot that. And I'll just go through the question. Tomorrow I will clarify. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So if no doubts, then I think we can end the class for the day. So I will be floating some questions. Please practice them. So tomorrow we will start with the third method, which is called an Ogle's approximation method, which is the last method in initial basic variable solution. Okay, and that is a very important method and slightly complex compared to the first and second method. The first and second method were very simple. I think just one is the northwest and the lowest value. But in Ogle's approximation method, the number of steps involved is slightly on higher side. I'm not saying it is difficult. Only thing is the number of steps are more, and therefore you need to be very clear about the steps to be followed. So I want everyone to be perfect with the first and second method, so that the third method becomes very simple to understand. Okay, so please practice some problems. Anyway, I'm sharing the questions also to you, and tomorrow, so that understanding the question would become very easy for you. So you'll not be having any fumble when it comes to grasping things. Okay, so fine then. So thank you all, and tomorrow we'll continue the class. Okay, any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Stop the class for the day. Okay, so thank you all. So see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.